Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. I'm Eyeic. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and today we will be covering 10 hours of killing the one, the only Croesus skilling boss. Today, we're going to be focusing on the loot from 4-man teams, as this currently is the easiest to coordinate as well as get consistent kills with. However, if there is interest in a loot video from 10 hours of public kills to compare the two, I would happily be able to do that for you guys in a separate video. But without any further ado, let's get right into it. So there's been a lot of discussion in the community about whether 4-mans, 8-mans, or public instances are the best way to go for Croesus, and I hope this gives a little bit of insight into that when talking about loot as well as timing of kills and contribution points. When the boss was first released, in a news post, Eyeic suggested that each player have a minimum level of 80 in the relevant skills, which does seem to be pretty accurate and consistent with doing 4-man kills effectively. Now, obviously, with higher level skills, you get a higher level of efficiency, your kills become faster and a little bit more consistent, but I'm telling you here from experience that it is quite possible to keep up with the level 90 players as a low to mid 80 level player. When this boss was first released, it was actually pretty hard to find a 4-man team, simply because not a lot of people had a good understanding of the boss, but as content creators put out more guides, everyone seems to be understanding of what a 1-2 or a 2-1 rotation is and how to utilize them within the 4-man teams. As the days went on, we got a little bit more consistent with our kills, we saw less fails, as well as when we took learners into the team and began to doing kills with them, we saw a higher success rate at the beginning of these instances, where normally we would see them fail once or twice before we were able to get a kill. This was really nice to see because it also enabled a lot of groups to open up and offer learning sessions to new players, which is always such a great thing to see within the community. Now, in terms of gear for this 10 hours, I didn't actually use anything that special. While there is a lot of gear optimizations, including elite skilling outfits, skilling offhands, as well as skilling main hands, I was personally doing Hunter, which was not something that I had either the magical butterfly net for or the elite skilling outfit. So this is pretty baseline in terms of being a mid-level 80 skill, as well as having no additional bonuses. I did do a few kills here and there on fishing, on woodcutting, on mining. Whatever my team needed, I would do. Just as a preference, when I was setting up my own team, I would take the hunter position. The hunter experience here was great. Relative to the other plots though, it's a little overpowered, so either the other plots need to be tuned up a little bit or hunter needs to be turned down a little bit. As well, I think hunter might be a little bit too fast of a node, or in relative terms, fishing might be way too slow. I was able to keep up with a player that had 99, had an elite skilling outfit, and was using juju potions, whereas I was using no auras, no juju potions, no elite skilling outfits at all, and we were completing our sections about at the same time. So definitely some preferred roles in there if you want to complete something faster or slower. Or if you have a teammate that maybe has a lower skill, don't throw them on fishing or woodcutting, but give them hunter or mining instead. As well, thanks to a teammate, I was able to find out about halfway through these 10 hours that the elite construction outfit works quite well on the statues, with the bonus of the outfit being able to proc on the statues, building it much faster. This was another key strategy for me to keep up with high level players, as this would allow me to build the statue about 25% faster than them and effectively keep up with them. The drops from this boss quite surprised me. When Eyeic originally announced Croesus, I assumed that the regular drops would be suffering due to the fact the unique drops are both diverse as well as affect PVMers and skillers, and overall seemed very strong. However, you can see due to the loot that not only are the uniques great, but also the common drops. Throughout these kills, we got a load of onyxes, which are a great item sink in the game, which is really going to bring up the GP per hour for this boss. Tons of herblore experience in there, which are all great experience, as well as great resources for Iron Men, as well as having some PVM supplies. On top of this, we can't forget about troves, which I will not be opening for the sake of this video, but will add on a amount of money per hour for the boss. Being able to at least get tier 2, if not tier 3 troves, depending on how upgraded you have your ring. Overall, I found that the boss was a little bit more intense than I had anticipated for a skilling boss. When Jagex had announced the boss, they did admit that it was planning on being much more intense than the skilling bosses in OSRS, which I have experienced before. But in order to enable your teammates as well as yourself to get effective kills, you do have to pay a certain level of attention, including coordination between teammates as well as moving for mechanics every 12 seconds in order to get those effective kills. Now, this didn't stop me from doing other things during the 10 hours. I did watch a lot of YouTube, I listened to a lot of music, so I wouldn't say it's like the most intense thing in the game, but definitely more than I was suspecting. I'd give it about a 6 out of 10. Another thing that really surprised me about doing this 10 hours was the experience. Jagex had originally said that it was supposed to be competitive around the 80s and 90s level, which I can agree to some extent that some skills are. However, it does again seem to be a bias towards Hunter in terms of experience. One thing that really caught me off guard that I was not expecting to come from this boss was the construction experience. Doing Croesus for 10 hours netted competitive construction experience being over 1 million experience over the 10-hour period. To put that in perspective, I did do Hunter for a majority of the time, which I only got 1.7 million experience in, which I personally find really crazy that a skilling boss for these 4 particular skills would almost be as competitive in a skill that's not supposed to be associated with the boss like construction. Maybe I shouldn't have rushed construction on this account, but it'll make for an easy 120 cape, which looks absolutely gorgeous. Now to do a loot breakdown of this video, we made 194 million GP in the 10 hours that we were doing Croesus, with an average of 2.4 million GP per kill. As well, on average, we were getting 431 contribution points per kill, which mainly in part was doing an hour after the boss had expired, as we noticed that our contribution points significantly were reduced once the boss's instance expired and the nodes no longer restored themselves. Now, through these 80 kills, we did see 3 uniques, being the scripture, the pet, as well as me getting the crypto bloom bottoms, which means that the loot overall was not drastically affected by uniques. In fact, I am under the opinion that this is the baseline for money making. I think players who are 99, who are in good teams, can get upwards of 25 mil GP per hour. I am personally curious about seeing the community's development on how contribution directly relates to rewards. I personally see it as an exponential growth with a cap being at around 500 or 600. But I might totally be wrong. I noticed that when I was in the 300s, I was getting very bad loot. I think I got a 600k drop, but as soon as I was getting in the 400s or the 500s, I was starting to see 2 mil, 3 mil, or even 4 mil per kill. Once again, this is really early data and we do not know enough about contribution yet to establish a baseline, but for this video and for this 10 hours, we got approximately 5.6 thousand GP per contribution point. But that's all I have for you guys today. Remember, if you really enjoyed this type of video, give it a thumbs up so I know, so I can make more loot videos in the future just like this. And if you really loved it, hit that sub button and you will be my favorite person ever. Good luck with your loot hunting, and until next time, have a wonderful week.